everybody, it's me, Bryson Booker, and you can't see my face, but that's okay because I have another review for you, and it's these Gateway 2000 Altec Lansing computer speakers, multimedia computer speakers, also known as the AC41s. And, well, my setup is different now for my movies, games, and music now. Before I had a, before I had just the Boston Acoustics Bass 635 speaker system, but something happened to it. The right speaker that I had, or the left speaker that I had, the cable gave out, and it still works. But when I plugged it into my uh, DVD, I would have to jiggle the cord around, keep jiggling it, wiggling it, and yeah, it sounds wrong. But I kept trying to do that, and it wouldn't work anymore. And I knew it was the cable because there was nothing wrong with the speaker, and there's nothing wrong with the subwoofer. So I threw the left speaker in the garbage, and the cord was not detachable, so I could not replace it. I threw it in the garbage. I still have the subwoofer. The subwoofer is still usable, and I'll tell you why in a few minutes. But the main focus of this review is these computer speakers. They are the Gateway 2000s, of course. And here's the story with those, with the Altec and Gateway 2000 and, everything. Back in the day, uh, well, the Gateway 2000 computer itself came out in 1993 and ran most well until the end of the 90s. Well, it lasted from 1993 all the way up to about, I would say, 2001, 2002. There are only a few of them left. But anyway, if you're a 90s nostalgic freak like I am, you have seen those ads for the Gateway Computer Company, probably like, let's say, 1998, where it advertises the Gateway computers and everything else they included with it. So you not only got the computer, but you had a printer and these speakers. So every time somebody would buy a Gateway computer, they would automatically receive the printer and the Gateway 2000 speakers that obviously went with it. It would either be the Gateway 2000 Altec Lansing speakers, or some Gateway 2000s, I think the premium models, came with the Boston Acoustics BA635 speaker system. And that is the subwoofer right there. That's the subwoofer for that system. Once again, I threw the little satellite in the garbage because it is no longer usable. But anyway, if you would buy a Gateway computer back in the day, you would get either one of those systems. Many people got the Gateway 2000 Altec Lansing speaker system. And these are it. So let's take a look. Let's look at the right speaker. See if you can see that. Yep. Right here. There you go. Right here is your volume control. This is also turns the loudspeaker off and on. Here is the treble control. And here is the bass control for your bass. This is the right speaker. And let's take a look at the inputs. Yep, here we go. You can't really see them. Let me unplug some of them. Come on, focus, focus. There we go. Okay, so I'm going to start with the input that says B on it. I'm going to start with the inputs. So you have two inputs, input A and input B. And what I really love this speaker system because it's so flexible. So since this is a multimedia computer speaker system, you can use these speakers with anything. So you can hook up two sources from whatever you want. You just need a 3.5 millimeter audio jack cable, which I have right here. And they sell them at Radio Shack, so you can find them anywhere. So you got two inputs. So what's really cool is you can hook up, of course, your computer to input A, which is the green input, And you can hook maybe, I don't know, a DVD player or MP3 up to input B. And it makes it so easy, so you won't have to keep unplugging and plugging back in and unplugging. It'll already be hooked up. So whatever source you want to use, you can use it because they're both hooked into these inputs. Both inputs work simultaneously if you're using maybe two computers or something like that. Next is the subwoofer output. It says sub right there. Let's see if I can focus it better. Anyway, it says subwoofer, and that's where my Boston Acoustic sub comes in. What is another cool feature about this speaker system is you can hook an external subwoofer up to them. Now, these guys do get plenty of bass, but if you're the kind of guy who likes the club music or dubstep or hip hop and you want more bass, or you're using this system in a larger room with movies and games, you can hook an external subwoofer up to it. Now, of course, being these Altec Lansing speakers, they probably thought back in the day you would buy an Altec Lansing subwoofer, and yes, they made separate subwoofers to go with these speakers, to use with these speakers. But you can actually use this sub output with any powered subwoofer. The subwoofer must be powered. The computer speakers will not power it. You have to have a powered sub. So, for instance, I'm using my Boston Acoustics BA635 subwoofer, and it goes from out of the sub output on the Altec Lansing speakers into the input on the back of my Boston Acoustics uh, subwoofer. So that's really cool, but there's a disclaimer for that I want to explain, and I'll get to that in a minute. And then you got the input for the right speaker, so just plug the right speaker right in, and the DC cord for power. Now let me plug input A back in. There we go. Now let's talk about the sound. Now, these speakers are absolutely amazing. That point blank. Point blank. That's all I have to say. They're amazing. I did a video not too long ago. It's called Computer Speaker Showdown. And if you've seen that video, you know these are the speakers I'm talking about. You know these speakers already. But if you have not seen that video, if you want to hear these guys in action, go to my video tab on my home channel page. Go to my videos, look for the Computer Speaker Showdown virtual drums. And so these speakers and the Cambridge Soundworks speakers go head to head. And you will see my winner decision. Well, you know what? I'm just going to tell you. But if you want to hear these in action, go watch that video. But these guys won. Because you know why? They're so clear. They're full and rich. They have clarity and bass. Even without a subwoofer, they sound so great. Now, the only little flaw is the treble. It's clear, but sometimes it can be a little too much treble. But that's why they included the knob. So you can adjust the treble to your desire, or you can have no treble. It's up to you. The same thing for the bass. You can have the bass all the way down, or you can have it up. And these speakers can pump some bass. I'm telling you. They can pump some bass. Now where the subwoofer comes in, kind of where my disclaimer comes. When you plug in the subwoofer, this is going to be your bass control. So it's like half of the bass that was in these speakers go out, and they send it to the subwoofer. So if you have this up at about 12 o'clock, it's going to sound really bass heavy. Now, if you're a dubstep fan or if you're a hip hop fan, that's no problem for you. But if you're like me and you listen to all sorts of music and you don't want that much bass, I would turn it down to about quarter of the way up, especially on your subwoofer, because if you turn this up, and you turn the bass up on the Altec Lansing speakers, the bass will sound completely muddy. So you do not want that. So if you're using this with a separate subwoofer, if you're using this speaker system with a separate subwoofer like the Boston Acoustics BA635 or the Klipsch Pro Media sub or any other powered subwoofer, please make sure that the bass level is at a small amount. If your existing system has a bass control. Some of these speakers systems did not have a bass control. Some did. And I love these speakers because they're set apart from so many other speakers at the time that could not reproduce sound that well. For example, LabTech. LabTech speakers could not do it that well. These can outshoot the LabTechs. And I love them so much. They sound great on my games. They sound great on my movies, especially with the added subwoofer, like I said, because it gives that extra punch, that extra boost. So if you don't have these speakers, I would recommend going out and get them. If you would have bought them separately back in the day, they would have costed you about $26 to $30. And that's somewhat how much they are on eBay right now. So go out and get them. They're the Altec Lansing AC41 Gateway 2000 speaker system speakers for your computer. Released in 1997. Thanks for watching.